Hi everyone, welcome to this crash course on Android Studio. I am Dr. Davide Piaggio and I'm a research fellow at the University of Warwick. I will be one of the lecturers at the summer school in Brixen, and I will lead a session which is titled Frugal Innovation Through Smartphones. In order to arrive to that point, so that we are all on the same page, I devised a few videos that will allow you to learn or brush up the few basic contents regarding Android Studio programming with Android Studio. In this first example, which is called MySum, we will be building our first application, which is a simple summer, an application that will sum two numbers that the user can input on the phone. And we will be dealing with concepts such as the use of buttons, how to start an activity or trigger an activity or an action based on a button pressed, on a pressed button. Other concepts such as text views, edit texts, and so on, and some checks using if clauses. So, and the other videos will be dealing with more graphical content, meaning layout contents. We will be going through different possible layouts combinations, such as the use of constraint layout, relative layout, and so on. And that's it. Then when we will be in person in Brixen, Bressanone, we will be going through the same examples so that we can be on the same page on the same day. And I have designed a few examples that you will be asked to try and solve during the day with our help. That's about it. So all these videos will be hosted on Ubora YouTube channel, and all the related codes, I mean the Android Studio codes, will be linked on a GitHub repository. That's it. So we can start. What we will be doing today will be to obtain, I will show you the final result that we will be obtaining. So also here you will have installed Android Studio based on the instructions that I shared with you, and you will see that you will be able to either run the application on an emulator like the one that is showing here on the right, or if you have an Android based phone, you can turn your phone into a developer mode, and you can run your application there. In this case, I will show you on the emulator because it's already on my screen. So if I click play, the app will be running. Now the layout is very simple, but we will be building this kind of screen. So we will have here on this page, we can already see different views. Where you see written first number and second number, these are called text views and are used for showing text. On the right of both, there are two edit texts, which are views that allow the user to input something. They can be used to input numbers, they can be used to input text, and so on. And we can use the text or number that is inputted here to do some calculation in this case. Here there is another text view which is now reading answer. When I will be clicking add, the two numbers that I will write here will be summed and the answer will appear here. I think I added an if clause to to check whether the user has inputted the numbers. So now I'm just going to run the application without inputting any numbers. I should be receiving a warning. In fact, it says input two numbers. Okay, so let's see if also I only write one number. I should get the same kind of warning. Okay, now I will input two numbers, so 25 and 5. I should obtain 30. Okay, the answer is 30. This works not only with integers, but I can do this and I should be able to obtain 30.5. So it's an application that will sum any kind of number. Okay, so how do we go on and build this application? Okay, so starting from the start, we go on File, New Project. Here you can see there are different pre-made activities from the most simple, meaning no activity, to the most complex ones. Usually, like for example Google Maps activity and so on, you can also have activities where you will have the possibility of navigating using the bottom navigation bar or other examples. Usually, most of the applications that beginners and intermediate users will be using start with an empty activity, which is very easy to customize. So we will be selecting empty activity, and here we can select our application name. In this case I will call it MySum2 because I already have a MySum application ready. You can see here that it will automatically give a package name com.example. The name you just picked, and you will see, well, now you can see from my previous app that it will be defined at the beginning of your code. So whenever you will be using, if you're going to be using any code that I upload in on GitHub, you may be needing to change the package name. Well, saved location, language that we're gonna be using is Java, and minimum SDK means what is the minimum level of API that the device that is going to use the app needs to have. In this case, you can see, of course, now the latest ones are 31, 32. Usually, if you click on here, you can see how many users you're going to target. So let's say that I just want to use an API 28, which is Android Pie. I would still be able to target 75% of devices. If I go, the lower I go, the more I go into the past. So if I choose API 21 Lollipop, I can target almost all devices, over 98%. You can see more details here. If I click Help Me Choose, you can see the distribution. Okay, so I'm gonna stick with API 21 and I'm gonna click Finish. Meanwhile, we can see here that the Android Studio is setting up all the different parts of the application for me, the main starting points. So we will wait a bit. So also make sure that when you have downloaded Android Studio that you have updated everything. So whenever you open for the first time Android Studio, it will probably tell you if there are updates that are needed. And sometimes from time to time it will ask you to update the program. Okay, so this is started, as finished, sorry. So we can see here, as I was saying, that there is package and my package name, which finishes with the name of my application. And we can see that, well, we can see here on the left a navigation pane. This is our app, which contains three main parts. The manifest of the application, which is where we will see what's in there. Java file, which is the actual code, for example, for the activities of the application, and resources, which will contain, for example, strings, if needed, definition of colors, and drawables is where you can add your own images, for example, if you need to show images on the application, and so on. And there is for sure the layout file. This is always there, which is linked to the first activity. So this layout file will define how the application looks like. Briefly on the manifest, if I double click on it, this is what Android has already written for us. So it's defining how the application is working and what style it's using, what's the icon of the application. So if you want to personalize these kind of things, you should be playing here. And here we can see target API is 31, but we know that we can go up to 21 because we selected that. Here there is the only activity for now of the application. So in this case we have one activity, and each activity of the application should be defined here. So in this case we have one, which is the starting activity, and we have one here. If we were to create another activity, we would need to create also here another part of the manifest. In terms of layout, we can go and double click here, and we can see that, okay, this was super zoomed in. This is what the first Android app, any Android app that we are gonna build will be like this. So it starts with the typical hello world sentence, like it used to be for example C or C++. We will be the next video will be more dedicated to the layout, so to different kinds of layouts I was mentioning earlier. You can see constraint layout, linear layout, and so on. But we will be dedicating another video to that. So today we're just gonna use the constraint layout, which is already what you see here, which is based on placing the views of your application based on constraints. It's very practical, although not super versatile. It doesn't allow you to obtain any kind of layout that you want in the end. Okay, so I'm gonna, okay, before I delete this, we can see different things. Here on the right there are attributes. So normally we will have different things. For example, here you can see that the text can be personalizable. So here, if instead of, this is a text view, if instead of hello world I want to write hi Brixen, I can do that. Yeah, and you see here it says now hi Brixen. There are many different kinds of personalizable attributes. One could be, for example, text size. We can see it here, for example, we can double that size. You can see now it's 28 instead of 14, and there are, you can personalize the color and so on. But okay, so we will just delete this one, and now I'm gonna try and I'm just gonna see what it should look like. So we will have a text view next to an edit text, text view, edit text. Okay, so I'm just going to, so what I'm doing here is just I'm going to drag and drop whatever I need on here. Meanwhile, the Android Studio will be uploading, building a code. In fact, up here we can see that either I can be in the design, in the split view, and here you can see the XML code already existing, or only code. Okay, let's maybe be in split view, so that, let me create some space here, so that we can be seeing what happens. We can see what happens. So we have, this is an XML. This is just saying that there is a constraint layout, which is what we are going to use, and that the layout width and height are the same as the parent, which is the whole screen in this case. And the context of this layout is the main activity. Okay, so we click here and we are said we're gonna have a text view, then another text view, then another text view, which is for viewing the result. Then we need an edit text, which is here. So you can be, for example, plain text, password, email. Plain text is fine, but since we know that exactly we are gonna have numbers, then we are gonna use the one specifically for numbers. What does this do? Whenever the user will click there, it will automatically prompt the numerical keyboard and not the letters, the one with letters. So we will need one here, and finally a button to activate the sum. Now, if I left this like this, chances are that everything will be sent to top. Maybe we can try when running. Let's see what happens, because there are no constraints defined. Okay, let's wait a bit because it's the first time that the application is building. This is the previous one, 1 second. Okay, so you see what happened. It happened that everything has been sent to the, let's call it origin, to the top left, because nothing has the its position specified. So what we are gonna do now, let's stop the emulation, is to put some constraints. It's very intuitive, so we just need to drag the corners to the to wherever we want it, really. The importance is that they are more or less all linked. In this case, you can see I'm linking text view with text view. And we're gonna, in this way, create our layout. We can then readjust as we please. Okay. Now this has gone a bit too below. Okay, so this is to make sure that everything stays in place. Okay. And okay. '72. We will see if these are aligned. Oh no, this is not aligned, sorry. I can see now. Okay. Okay, now it's aligned. Maybe. Awesome. Okay, so what can we see now? We can see that meanwhile the code has been built for the layout. So we have a text view defined, which is that one on top. We can see that it says wrap content, meaning that it will be as big as whatever text it will include. Another text view, which is this one. I don't know what's happening here. I'm missing constraint. In fact, I missed this constraint. No, I put it here. Okay. Well, we have a very detailed file, and we can, if we are not happy with what we have, we can always go and customize. Okay. So now, for example, I'm just changing here the name. So if I want to change this text, in this case we said it will be called first number, we can just go into the attribute Android column text and change to whatever we want. So we're gonna call it first number. You can see that there has been updated, and it's now reading first number. We can change the same, so now we will do the same for text view 2, but on the attribute list. So if I double click here, no, sorry, if I select this and go on attributes, we can go on text as I did earlier and do second number in this case. Okay. Okay, just to align this. Okay. Finally, here in the edit text you can have something. I didn't put it in the other application, but it's called I think it's called hint. By the way, there is a way to search this kind of text in attributes in a easier way. So you just click here. You see hint, and we can write for the user input one number, and we can do the same for the other one. Okay, so you can see already that it has appeared there, and this again, input one number. Okay, one last thing that you should be aware of is that any of these views is given a certain ID. Let's start from this one. It's the first one. The Android Studio will be giving an ID which is called, for example, text view 1, 2, 3, and so on. Sometimes, well, most of the times, when you have so many views, it's easier if you personalize this name. So in this case, could be the name ID could be text view num1. Then we click. And here, when you do this and you have already some code, it will refactor everything for you. So it will make sure that your code will still work. So you just press refactor. We can do the same. So here we have text view num2. Usually this way of writing with a certain capital letter, so you see here text, and then we have capital letter V, view, capital letter num, is called camel case. It's very common in coding. It makes it easier to read. Okay, then we refactor. Then we go to the first edit text. This is called edit text number 1. And refactor, edit text number 2. Okay, this was easy, so I don't change it. Button, we can call it button add, because it will be adding. Refactor. Also, really, we don't like the the button, reading button, so we can go personalize the text in this case, which will be add. Okay, finally we have the text view, which is text view 3. We can call it text view ans for answer. Okay, refactor. And also we don't like this text view reading text view, but maybe we would prefer, where is it? Okay, we would prefer it to read answer. Okay, so now if we play the application, everything should stay in its place. Let's see. More or less, it's there is something wrong here. I see that it's this edit text. Okay, let me stop this. The second, okay, sorry, I'm just trying to, okay, the second edit text I forgot to, what happened here? Sometimes, okay, let me do this and do this and then do this. Okay, well, I can't really, let's say that this is looking better now. Okay, so let's try now. Okay, so it was a problem with the second edit text. You see sometimes the code, the Android Studio is very intelligent, so it will tell you what's wrong. And we will actually, I will show you later here that we have something which is called logcat. Now it's set to verbose, which means that all the text will be written here. It will be writing everything that happens. So, okay, let's go on. So of course now, yes, you can see that if I click here, I have this, which is the numeric keyboard, as I told you earlier. So I can input two numbers. But if I click add, nothing happens because we haven't coded anything yet. Okay, now we will do exactly that. So we close the emulator, we make some space on the screen, we go on main activity.java, which is the Java code for the main activity, which has already created our class main activity, which extends something which is already pre-made, which is called app compact activity. I didn't write anything of this. This is written by Android Studio. Now, what happens here is that it says whenever we are on the onCreate, whenever the application is being opened, because it's being created, we are gonna set the content to the activity main, which is this one, what we've just created, which is stored where in r.layout, its resources r.layout.activity main. Okay. Now this was already written, but you can see that when we write, it will give you hints. So if I do r dot, you can see that is already layout. I click enter, it goes like that. Dot activity main, which is the only one we have there right now. Okay, So we said that we want to create an activity when pressing the button. Now, whatever you have to do in any case is whatever you're gonna use, and we are gonna use all of these, mainly actually, let me do this, no, let me do this. We are gonna need to be able to personalize this, and this. We need to define it in the Java part, so to declare it in the Java part. So how do we go on declaring those things? Let's start with the first one, okay? The first one is an edit text, so we are just gonna need to write the type. You can see already that we have the suggestion. I click return. Here we give it a name, so we can call it first num equals. So here we created the variable of type edit text. Here the way this usually works is that we need to cast it to this type again in between brackets. So we are gonna need to repeat what type it is, and then here we are gonna need to link what we have just created, which is just let's say an idea of edit text, to the actual edit text that we created. So how do we do this? We need to find this view by its ID. So find view by ID. You can see here that I have it suggested. And here we do the same thing that was already done here. So we need to access our resources. We need to find IDs. And here you can see it will tell you all, you can see that all the one written in bold are the ones that we created. The one in this case is edit text number 1. This is why it's important to give numbers to these views, so that in this case it's then faster to do this, because you don't see text view 1, text view 2, and you get confused saying, oh, what was this one, what was that one. So I go on and create the second num edit text in the same exact same way. Maybe you can try to pause the video here and do the same. Find view by ID r.id.edit text number 2. Okay, then we said that we have the button, the type is button. Okay, sometimes when you haven't included yet, so you can see here that was already imported the widget edit text. In this case, the system is telling you it's not yet included. So how do you include it? You press Alt and return together. And you can see that this has added this line, import the button widget. We're gonna call it add equal, we cast it to button. We find view by ID r.id. It's called button add, semicolon. Each statement has to finish with end with semicolon. Which other things do I need? This one, and the answer. Okay, because I'm not gonna declare first number, second number text views, because I'm not gonna ask it to change the content programmatically, so I don't really need that. So we have text view. Okay, you can also pause the video and try this one to create the text view for the answer. Okay, sorry, my phone was ringing. Okay, so here you can, I was saying, you can try as well to declare a text view. In this case, we can see again that it's not recognized. So whenever you go there, it will tell you click Alt plus return. And again, sometimes it just doesn't take it. Okay, you can see that it has added this one. Okay, we are gonna call it answer. And here, sorry, equals, the type is text view, find view by id r.id text view ans. Oops. Okay. Okay, so now we have declared everything that we will be calling in this part. So when you have a button, to create to start an action because the button is clicked, we need to set something which is called onClick listener. So whatever we need to do, usually we use in this type of programming the dot notation. So if I want to call a method on a certain view, I will write the view name. In this case, the button name was add. So you can see that it's already in store. It's stored and it tells you it's a button. I click dot, and you can see many different things and methods that someone else has already created for you. What we really need in this case is the first one, set onClick listener. So I double click here, but I could have written that. Now, whenever we have an onClick listener, we need to create a new, the code works like that. So we are gonna need to write new, and you can see here again, the top suggestion is view dot onClick listener. I double click, and this is already this has already done the work for me. So there is a new function, which is a onClick function, which is being activated on this new view. In this case, what I want to do, and here, okay, we are gonna write whatever we want the application to do. Okay, in this case, what is it? This is the way you write comments, by the way, // we are gonna ask it to sum two numbers that were inputted. Okay, so in order to do this, what do we need to do? We need to access the text that is in the numbers that have been inputted. So we do this in this way. So we have first num, which is the first edit text, dot get text. What this returns, you could have seen it there, it's an editable. We want a string at first that we need to turn then into a numerical type. So we just need to click again dot, and the first method is toString. Whenever you have a doubt and you don't know what methods are there, if you Google, so for example, if now I went on Google and wrote how do I retrieve a text from an edit text, and how do I turn it into a string, there will be someone that will have done that and will tell you this is what you need to write. So it's very easy sometimes to find answers. So dot toString, and this is giving us a string, but we want a double. So okay, let's try this with you, so you can see that you can find answers also online. But first, where does this go? It has to go into a variable, so which will be of type double or float, because we want to use numbers with decimals. So doubles, let's call it num1. This is the variable num1 of type double equals this expression. You can see I get an error. Why? If I go over it, it says that the required type by my variable is double. What I'm giving to it is string. This is the problem. So the way we're gonna find this out is to go on Google and Google how to turn a string into a double. So how to turn a string into a double Java. Okay, Java convert string to double. First result. Blah blah blah. And here it already is telling you that we need to use, oops, where is it? We need to use this method which is called parse double, which is a method that is applied to the double class. And here there is an example. So we need to do this, okay? We need to write double, which is the class double, invoke the method parse double, and give it the string we want to turn it into a double. Okay, so this is the string already that we want to give into the double, so we are gonna put it into brackets, and here we're gonna write double dot, and here are all the methods. We said that we need the one called parse double, so I'm gonna just start writing it, parse double, which accepts string s. You see, sorry, it accepts a string, and we are giving it a string. Okay, so this is for number 1. Now we can do the same for number 2. You can try yourself, you can pause the video. So double number 2, double parse double. What we need is not the text of the edit text number 1, but of the edit text number 2, which was called second num. Okay, dot the get text dot string. Perfect. Now we need to create another variable. By the way, I'm not going into detail again, but if you need to know what's the difference between int, double, float, there are different data types. Maybe an example will, let's see. Well, the difference is that you can Google the difference if you don't know it, but int will basically represent only integer numbers, and float and double are used for numbers with decimals. Float has less memory allocated, so will allow you to have a certain number of digits. Double is double precision and will allow you to have even more. In this case I put double, but could have been also a float. Okay, so now we need to create a new variable which is for having storing the sum. Okay, so double sum equals, we will need to store num1 plus num2. That's as easy as that. Okay, and now if I stop here, the application will do the calculation, but you won't see it anywhere. In order to show it, because we also want to show the answer, right? Here in this edit text, which is called text view ans, we are gonna need to go here and write ans, which is already defined up there, dot set text. Okay, and we are gonna need to write a string. Okay, so answer is, no, was it like that? It was answer like this. And whenever we write strings, we can be appending new parts by just adding plus. So in this case I'm just gonna write this, but I could have done answer whatever plus whatever and so on, and it would create a new string. But in this case we stop with answer plus, and we need to call the variable that stores our sum. Okay, so if we now run our application, okay, so I go here, let's write 20, sorry for that, we are writing 30, collapse this, add, answer is 50. Okay, so it's working. Let's see if it also accepts oops, if it also accepts no, it's not accepting. So far it's not accepting decimals. Why? Let's go and see the XML file. So if I go here, let me collapse this. Okay, so we are here because this is the problem. Okay, number, but it's not accepting for example, well, number signed, which means also negative, but there should be a number decimal somewhere here that here it is, number decimal. Okay, we're gonna apply this and do the same here. Input number, number signed, number decimal, apply. Okay, so now if I run again the application, it will allow me, should allow me to sum also numbers with decimals. So let's see, 25.5 plus 30.1 add 55.6. So this is how things, not always things turn out the way you want in the first try, actually almost never, but when you look into details you will find quite easily how to solve it. Okay, so now let's go on and we will add the if clause to check if the user has inputted numbers, because so far what happens is that if there are no inputs and if I click add, the application crashed. If I go on the logcat, probably it will tell me that there was an error. In fact, it says that was an empty string. I'm calling a method to all these methods that we did were working on an empty string, so we don't really want that. Okay, and what we need to do is to prevent this action. Okay, so how do we do that? We need to write, sorry, here I had already written this, an if statement around what these actions. So if, what we really need to do here is to check whether the edit text is empty or not, either or, both, or either or. I mean, first num or second num, either of the two is empty. So again, let's pretend we don't know or don't remember how this works. We can just Google it. Okay, so check whether edit text is empty. How do I check if my edit text fields are empty? Stack Overflow. Let's see if these people, Stack Overflow is a website where if you have some issues you report your code and experts will be answering to you. Okay, this guy is asking, I have 5 edit texts in Android. I would like to know if I could check if all 5 are null. Is there a way to do this? I did something like this once, and this is the best answer. Okay, so we are gonna trust this. No, this is not the way I wanted to do it though. Okay, this is what I was looking for. Probably also this method works, that the one that the guy is saying, but what I really want to use is this one. So we're gonna call this method, which is part of the class text utils. The method is called isEmpty. Okay, so if text utils, which is this big class dot is empty. Okay, what is empty? What is gonna be checked if it's empty? The edit text number one. So first num dot get text. Okay. Then we're gonna add the okay. This is what happens. What happens if one of the two or both are empty? Okay, so if text utils is empty, where are we? We are here. No, here. Oh, no, it's not or. It's to do the or. You need to write this, the straight bar, double straight bar, or text utils dot is empty. Which one? The second one, no? So second num dot get text. Okay. So if one of the two or both are empty, what happens? Well, first of all, we don't need to do the sum, so in fact you can see that these details are not within here. We need to write a toast. A toast, which is a warning message to show a message to the okay. So how do we make a toast? We need to first we need to create char. Let's see if it also works with a string text equals input to numbers. Okay, then we need to decide the duration of the toast, so we have int duration equals toast dot, and it can be either long or short. We can do it long so that the user will have more time to read it. And finally we create the toast. Toast is of the type toast, like button is of the type button. So we are gonna cast it toast. We call it, let's call it warning so we don't get confused. Okay, equal toast dot make text, and here we need to specify different things: context, the text, and the duration. We're gonna aim at this one. So to get the context means that it needs to know where in the application we are, so get application context, comma, and then we need to give it the number, the string text, and then we're gonna need to give it the duration, which we already identified. Okay, seems that it's working. So now what we need to do is to do warning, which is the toast name, dot show. We call the method show on the toast. Okay, so and then we need to write else else means whenever we are not in that case, and this is, I put the two curly brackets here, whenever we're not in that case, so whenever we have both numbers inputted, you need to do this sum and show it, okay? So let's see if we made everything right, we did everything right, and if everything works smoothly. Okay, I don't input anything. Input two numbers. Okay, I input only a number here. Let's see. Input two numbers. Okay. I put one here. Let's see. Input two numbers. What if I write 2.5 and 2.3? Add 4.8. Okay, so this is the final application. I tried to explain it as I went on building it, also showing what to do if you don't know how to do something, or if you don't remember, because sometimes it's impossible to remember all this. The internet is a very good source, and there are a couple of websites. We saw Stack Overflow coming up, or others that actually give you good suggestions most of the time. We will be going again on this demonstration, but in a quicker way during the first part of the class on the day, so that we can revise the contents, and then we can go on with other exercises. Thank you for watching, and stay tuned for the next video.